Shirtscape? Great. Okay, thanks. My name's Kevin Colton. Most of you know me, but I've met a couple of people for the first time this weekend. So it's nice meeting you. I've been with the American Judo and Jiu-Jitsu Federation for 59 years, and I've always been a member of Kilohana, but my entire dojo is now with Kilohana. And there are a lot of great profs and people in this organization, and there are some folks in the AJJF that their egos are too big and don't think it's necessary to engage with other organizations and stuff, and they're wrong. But anyway, we're going to do the balance of the Kiai no Maki. So in my upbringing, I had learned the intention of the Kiai no Maki was supposed to be done and given to you as a brown belt. It was to give you the courage and to not, like, if you hear something, but you can just kind of take a breath, turn around, be calm, be able to enter the fight or whatever. And then you're ready for Shinin and Shinyo and Shingen. But it's not followed like that, at least for us in the AJJF. The student tends to learn most of these techniques at Yodan, at the last physical test that you take. And knife and gun, you start doing as a green belt probably, and stuff, and those are on your Shodan and Nidan exams. But then the other stuff you don't see till a lot later, and there's so much, it's ridiculous that it's not spread out over Nidan and Sandan and Yodan and stuff. And I can't speak for Kilohana, but that's how the AJJF does it. And all these techniques there's only bits of it. You're showing 6 to sen. You're showing 3 boken techniques. The Hanbo, there's just one that's in the bow category. That's from Professor Okazaki, our senior professor in the AJJF at the time, Lamar Fisher, which some of you may know, or the name. He loved the Hanbo. So he got that stick fighting book and picked 6 techniques from it, and it was somewhere in the 90s, and it became part of our regimen and part of the Yodan exam with the single technique that Professor Okazaki showed. And there are, since he has passed away, there are professors that want to do away with those techniques, and they've been there for 30, 40 years. So why fuck with it if it's not broken and stuff, and let his memory remain. But those are questions that I can't answer. So these little tidbits can get you excited where, from the 3 boken techniques, you may want to study Kendo or Iaido. There's that one rope tying technique, Hayanawa, and there are books out there that are this thick with all different ways to tie up your lover or enemy, and if that's what you like, then do that. And the 4 knife techniques, there's all different ways of playing with the knife, and if you bring in all the Filipino techniques and that, there's more than just the 4 directionals that we have and stuff like that. So you have to pick what you like, and and if you want to learn more, you just find it on your own and stuff like that. So anyway, we're going to start with the Tesen or Tetsusen, and it's fun to open the fans up, but in the techniques that you're doing, you don't open it and stuff. And some of the Professor Janovich has some exquisite iron fans that don't open, but they look like they should, and the way they're painted and stuff, it's really cool. But I will say, going on an airplane, nobody ever asks a question about what this is, and I always take it with me on the airplane. And some of our Yawara sticks, if you know how to talk correctly and say it's for massage, I do massage, and you can get away with it. But it's harder and harder. But I just tell them I get hot flashes at my age, and I get a little nervous when there's turbulence, and I just have to calm myself down. Oh, okay, here, go ahead. And so it's great. So this is kind of nice to have.
Is that one wood sensor?
It's metal on the outside. It's a paper on the inside.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and Prof Hill brought this back to me from Japan, and you can't find them anymore. The stores do not have Tsens anymore. Just you can go to martial arts studios and buy these kind, but you can't find these. But there are some on not eBay, but
Etsy?
Amazon. You can actually find some of these ranging 75 to 150. So you could pick one up. And I've been told that when one is made for you, or the proper, like Hans in that bag had a lot of different lengths, a Tsen is to go from the crook of your elbow joint to your wrist line. And that's what fits in your hand well. And, the Yawara stick should extend a little bit on either side of the hand, so you've got something to hit with and stuff. So anyway, when we're doing the techniques, make sure you use the Tsen and not your hand, because there's a tendency to do that. So the first technique is Katate Hizushi, and you want us the same directions as Hans was this morning, standing?
Why not? Yes.
Okay, so from an outside grip, and I'm going to bring my hand around, but the Tsen is on and is what is driving the arm, the hand off. And you can come back towards the throat. You can just step away and do absolutely nothing, because it's just saying Katate Hizushi. So just get out of that grab. Over and around, lay it on top, and in. These should all be pretty easy, because you all should have a good hand on Yawara. So the only thing that I don't want to see is where, like, it's my hand, then I guess I just don't need that. But since the purpose is to use it, try to use the Tsen. Okay? Katate Hizushi, do it a couple times each. We should be able to get through this list pretty quick and get through everything else. So find the partner you're comfortable with, do them a few times, and meet back in the circle and yell if you need something.
You can do it here.
Okay, so Munedori, a double lapel grab, so somewhat Ryo-eri Tori or Ryo-eri Hizushi. And I can take this two ways. Going to the far side to get rid of this hand first, or I can go to the near side to get this hand off first. I see it more done going to the far side. So pushing into Hoku, across the eyes to mist, a Ryo-eri Tori, over, strike to the temple. One more time. Boom. Mist to the eyes. Ryo-eri Tori using the back end of the Tsen. Bring it on the back side of the arm. Beginnings of an ulnar press to the temple. Yes.
You're hitting at the end with the temple, not the butt?
I'm hitting with the side against the side of the.
Not the butt.
Yeah, not the back end or the sharp point, just to there. Okay? One more time. We're good with this?
Can we see, would you?
Hi, yes, totally. Mist. Z-bar. ulnar strike. Okay. Do it a few times and then we'll do the other version for this. From the double grab, up the back end. In Hoku on this hand. Boom. Striking. Come up. Bam. In Shinyo, you've got, crap, can't think of the name. Tsurigani Otoshi. This hit. And then you would throw them. But I'm just going to come up with this hit. Hook this in like a V. Pull it right into my chest. Step back on my left foot. Down. And in. So a little less movement than the first technique, but you see the first technique more. Down, up, hook, back, boom. Come this way. Boom, up, hook, back, boom. Third technique, Miken Wari, between the eyes. So there's a couple of ways to think about the strike to here. One could be a kind of a rebounding, and one is like driving through. You got to kind of figure out which one feels more comfortable to you, or maybe dealing with the angle of the punch or something. So you'll just figure that out as you're going. I would say, I would take it from a hook because it's a little easier, but ideally any of these, so if you throw the hook the first time, bam, and I'm in there. If I get a straight and I don't really care, I'm just right there with it. So I'm not going to let his attack kind of freak me out. You should be able to do a hook and a straight, relatively the same, and not be troubled by, oh shit, I was expecting a roundhouse and I'm getting a straight. So do work with, and it's got that, and you can practice on the body and stuff, but get where you can stop, or just it gently touches. You've got the ability to come in but softly let it make contact, and work on that to better yourself in the technique. But you can always, for practice, go to there. The same thing when you strike the person in the groin from some technique. Hit them hard in the leg. Everybody's like, I'll stop right there. And that's what you're going to do if you get outside. So make that contact to the leg, the inner side, so you will strike the object. So it's just a clean, straight, between the eyes strike. Die! Straight. Into there. Yeah.
You did it both ways, and I don't know if you care. Is it the block is with, you're blocking with the Tessin and the arm, and then coming and hitting with this part again, not the back part?
No, not here. It's this part. It's not my handle until maybe there's a technique where I would come and use the backhand, but I want to use the guts of the weapon a little more.
And the block part, does it matter if it's here or if it's here?
If I get a roundhouse, I'm gonna use this to come here. But in getting a straight punch, I'd rather have this little extra thing in my hand to strike with and set me up with. So yeah. And you can go on the outside of a straight punch and you can just figure out your own shit, and it's all good. It's just this. So you can be surprised and have to wipe this way, or have a wipe on this side, and so forth. So yeah. But the key is this here. Okay. So the next one is called Uchikomi Dome. Stop from entering in. So It's from a straight punch, and you're going to bing them on the back of the hand. So not the most pleasant thing, but it's not going to kill you. And there will hopefully be a little bit of a redrawing back, and you're going to move with it to grab their wrist, and their hand is on top of the shoulder. And then I'll do a little theater in the round here. And then the back end of the Tsen is just going to fall into approximately lung 1. And then he'll lung 1. Yeah, so upper pec, but if you do the massage course, you'll hear lung 1 talked about. So it just makes me sound smarter than I truly am to be able to say that. Even though I'm probably not in the spot exactly, but who gives a shit? And then from here, I'm just going to step back on the left foot, take uke down, hold, and the strike to the temple region. So from that straight, bam, in, lock it up, down, boom. Boom, in, lock it, down, boom. Okay, have fun. So the fifth one, katate ori, origami, folding, which is what you're doing when you do a katate tori. You're folding the hand over and around the wrist. So from his straight punch, die! And right on that condyle at the end of the wrist, that little nubby thing, just bang the crap out of it on them. And it's just like, ah, but be nice. In, hook, ah! Look at that. It's got a magnetic thing to that. So I can just leave it on the Tsen and do it, and I don't have to wear, okay.
Audio, that's visual. So.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. So yeah, and this is what everybody tends to do. When I got lucky, I learned my Tsen techniques from Carl Beaver, who was a student of Professor Okasaki's. And there was an organization in Southern California, still is, called Shoshinryu Danshikai. And the head of it is a guy named Mike Chubb. And they had that organization back when Southern California split from the AJJF in 1978, formed the SCJA because Professor William Randall, a few of you might know who he is, he started jiu-jitsu in Southern California. I wouldn't be here today if he wouldn't have been doing it. He got Godon without the professor title. So, and that was the first time AJJA haven't done it, and they were taking it to 6th degree instead of 5th degree. But his students, Jim Marcinkus and Mike Chubb, got really pissed off about it and like said, we're done. And so that started. And Mike Chubb just had some way of being able to get in touch with Professor Okasaki's students that were alive still. Jack Wheat, Carl Beaver, it was like, and I was in my late 20s, early 30s, and meeting these people like who you'd read about, and it's like, God, they're alive, and Carl Beaver lived in Arizona, but he would come down for the monthly black belt class, and he taught the Hambo techniques that I do and the Tsen, and it's like, wow, this is really cool. Got lucky being there and stuff. So these are all from him. So besides the katate tori being the one that's most widely used, you're flexing the wrist. So from a straight punch, I can come around and go into katate tori san. So now the flexion is upwards. Take him down. Kind of how we finish some of the knife techniques when you bust the wrist so the weapon slips out. And then the other was from a hook punch, coming under and over, bringing this into my own body, stepping back, and the katate tori, and then the hit. So I just had other directions of flexing or flexion to apply the same technique. So I taught my own students, there's these three, you're basically gonna see katate tori when it's done, but flexing this way, flexing the other way, and it's doing the technique. So we had those three to choose from. But primarily, or if Hans was here and he would talk about Professor Kufaroff, my bet would be that it was this that was done. So yeah, but the other two are there if you want to try them and stuff.
Can we see them, the other two, one more time?
Hi, yeah. So the straight punch, then bring it around the other side. And the thing that always confused me was I forgot to lift my thumb up to wrap around to get. So I would get to here and like, why can't I hang on to the damn thing? And just until finally and then I got that. And then the other from the hook, around, clasp close to the crook of his wrist, and bring it down a little bit, and just his hand right into my chest. Let it up. Step back, turn to get the katate tori, and boom. So a little of that rotation was on some of the gun techniques that Hans did earlier and getting to here. So a little bit of overlap with some of those movements with a different item in the hand. Good?
Hey.
Okay. Go at it. So the last one is called Katsuri Wari. And somehow, I guess in some kind of an English terminology, Judas tree break. So you're kind of hanging there. So you don't drop into a tomonagi, then pull them down, and then they do. So I would have the Tsen, and Jose is gonna arms around the neck and legs around the body and jump up. Yep. Boom. One choice. The back end of the Tsen, maybe at about L5, S1. And that kind of straightens them back up. So there's a little opening now to slide around and come up to Inazuma with the front of the Tsen at the sternal notch. Can also be in here and bring it from the side. So that's on Shinyo Tsukemi, the hit there. And then slide up and down, and then from here, you're gonna do Momojime. So the back end into this thigh, the front end into the opposite thigh on the Momo nerve, a strike to the groin, the back end hook, and roll them over and lock them up. So, one more time, he jumps up, boom, to the back. Snake it up, Nazuma. Left, groin, back end, hook and roll them over. Fold it up, have a talk. And if jumping is a hassle, then do tomonagi, bring him down, and do it from there if you can't support the weight or whatever.
Can you do it from a bear hug center?
Yeah, I mean, I can back them off, but there's nothing with the legs hooked around you to get the Momo nerves as readily available as, you know, putting them around so they're there. But you can figure out something. Yeah. Okay, give it a shot. It's okay. Just finish it. Cool. So he's running out of room on whatever it is that he has. Yeah, that thing. So I'm going to do the 7 Hanbo techniques and the 3 sword techniques, like for him, in just like 10 minutes, if you want to take a break or whatever, and then we'll do the techniques. But so this way, Hans will have everything. Everything.
We want to watch.
Oh, I don't care. You can stay and watch. It doesn't matter to me. So yeah. So. Oh, Hanbo. What the fuck? Oh, in this thing. Okay. Okay. Hanbo techniques. First technique, Genseki Otoshi Garami, to drop a big rock. So from a straight punch, up into a hammer lock, go down, follow, keep his arm locked with the shin of your leg as you press the tip of the Hanbo into the scapula. Let's see. One more time. Bam. Bam. To there. Next one, Onikudaki, to crush the devil. So from a hook, up and over, locking under the jaw, bring him down and around, but keep him spinning. And so now the crushing the devil is the weight of your knee on the back of his neck and pulling up on the emergency brake to crush the trach. Bam. Up, around, fold for the Kotomaki, over, keep it going, and lift. So those were the 2 upper body. Next are from a straight kick. So there's Ashi Gatami and Ashi Kujiki. The Gatami, the person is on their back. The Kujiki, they're on their tummy. So from the front, boom, and around, lock, come around the corner, and you're pressing this into the tibial border of their shin. One more time. Around. Ashikujiki, opposite. So from this side and around. So this is like doing some of the reverse Indian deathlock on a couple of the Shinyo techniques, where you pull back, and I'm just going to find my same positioning and press that in. Again, on the tibial border. It's nice and bony, not a lot of meat. Yeah! Then the next 2 are hand techniques. So Bogaishi, a single hand grabbing the outside of the Hanbo. Slide up, trap the hand and fingers, And basically you're doing a katate tori ni or a ryo eri tori. As you take him down, you get that wrist break. And then the sixth one is called Bogaishi, where one hand on the outside, one hand in the middle. And you're taking their space, going right down the center, and then just driving this right through the person's trach. So for the AJJF, those 6 techniques were added to the Kiai no Maki by Professor Lamar Fisher, who was the senior professor of the AJJF for many years. The one technique that Professor Okazaki gave was called Uchikomi Domi as well, but Hanbo as opposed to the Tessen technique. So this came from a straight punch, boom, like a pool cue, shot it across their neck, reach over like you do a little bit for Satsuma Shime, and lock the choke. No, maybe not. This way. Straight punch. Boom. Hey! That's the sen. Or, I mean, Hanbo, sorry. So yeah. And then the 3 Boken. So you got to imagine that there's a saya on, and the Boken is in the saya, and the first one, Nukimi Tome, is to stop the draw. So the person, you would hear them like push on the piece, the suba, and begin, and you're going to get stopped. There are a couple of ways. I like to do a Takubi Shigarami technique for this. So as he goes to unload, Takubi Shigarami, bring it around, slip my hand out. He'll still be holding that because that swordman is not going to let go or give up that sword. The right knee, right on the elbow joint, he's grimacing. And then I'm going to turn this to make sure the blade is down and draw it right across the body, and it will cross right over the wrist, the hand that holds the sword, which will take the life out of the swordman. Oh my God. Let's see if we stand this way, if that helps the picture. Hey! Yay! Second one, Shiraha Dori, is you get the sword, your boken out, and you're coming in with one shomen cut. Blade has to be up. So it's here. In. Up. So when we don't know a lot about this, people will hold the sword like a baseball bat, and the hands will be closer together. But ideally, one is pushed against the suba, and the other is on the back. So you have this type of a grab. That in turn, I'm still going to get it if you're like this, but that opening, which is naturally supposed to be there, allows the hand to fit inside when you take turn the blade up. And then we'll turn to your outside a little bit. Okay, so now here, and just the awara coming across the femoral and bleed out. And then Susobarai, the third one, is hem cut. So the sword gets out, you make the first cut, and I wasn't there to deal with that. This drops. I'm gonna jump over and then do Yamarashi to complete the technique. And if I miss, you'll hear a bang. And you'll go down on your left knee for the purpose of the technique. So I'm about here, so I gotta move out of the way for that. I'm here, in, Yamarashi, break it, and out. Yay! Hey! Okay, thanks. Okay, you got everything in there now. So, it's here. Watch your fingers that it doesn't smash. So I'll do it first. I mean, this is way loose. I'm gonna have you guys in a minute choke up way more. But it's getting out of these. I'm rising on my toes, head, chin to chest, where my cheekbones are not getting stuck. And this angle, the ears are not this way, which is horrible. So just squeeze it in from where you're at. It's really not that, yeah. So up, yay! And down, and then you can come down another foot or, yeah, okay. So up, yay! And to there. And then there's another set where the other two go this way, and so you have to get out one direction and then the other direction, and then there's two from the ground. So the first one is where it's just over the chest. So two more people, please. So two are up here, and then two, yeah, right about there. And so speaking at first, the legs, feet come out first, and then the body opens up. I'm kind of going to do a backward roll, but my right hand and right leg are going to come up as I roll. I want the stick on the back of my neck. And then my forehead is on the mat, and I'm dragging it back on the mat, and you gotta think about where your hands are. If your hand, you're not gonna be happy when the stick, even these PVC, land on your fingers, you're gonna cry like a baby. You gotta make sure these are wide so the stick doesn't land on you. And it just goes over the top of your head. So you can,
Microphone.
huh?
Microphone.
Oh, did it fall out? Sorry, I don't want to roll on it. Do I need it or? Oh, good catch. Okay, I'll leave it in there. So you can, whatever, clamp down a little more if you want to nod or whatever. So here, out, up, turn, and out to there. They're cool. These are just the PVC. The ones I use at home, I put a closet dowel inside the PVC, so there's a little bit more pressure, but this is smooth, so your ears don't get jacked up on the raw wood or a splinter or something like that. But putting a dowel in it, it makes it a little stronger. Yes.
That was for transporting prisoners, right?
Yes, they would get the person out of the hot tubs and walk them out and stuff. Yes, very much so. And then you had the one Shishin and Shimei where they would tie 7 people up to the 2 sticks, and they'd be on top, and it would go from the head around the sticks to the hands and back and forth. But there were also some ways of doing it where the hands were tied, and then the sticks just go through the set of arms, nothing around the neck, and you just lead them to where they're going. It was like an early version of ICE coming into town and walking you out of the, you got to go home and stuff, and they were taking the bad guy or guys out as well. That's it.